Any resident that has any changes of employment or rent due to the coronavirus, they should call their management office. Any resident in need of emergency work should call maintenance at 836-4954. There will be no evictions at the Buffalo Municipal Housing Authority this month through April, and I am sure beyond. All major telecommunication companies have pledged to the federal government that they will not disconnect service for the next 60 days due to the lack of payment. This includes Spectrum, AT&T, Verizon, Sprint, T-Mobile, and more. I want to ensure residents that garbage and recycling collection continues on its regular schedule. I also want to take this moment to recognize the men and women of our Department of Public Works for their exceptional work to ensure waste removal continues throughout the city of Buffalo. I also want to recognize the men and women of our Buffalo Police and Fire Departments. They remain on the front lines to ensure our safety. Buffalo Police personnel are receiving video training on how to further protect themselves from infection while continuing to serve our community. And Buffalo Fire personnel received similar training over the past weekend. Buffalo Public Schools continue in its massive effort to provide meals to thousands of children in every neighborhood in Buffalo who rely on school meals for their nutritional needs. Students 18 years old or younger can receive a hot meal for breakfast to take home each and every day. Food trucks will be in Niagara Square weekdays starting at 11:30 a.m. to meet the lunch needs for essential downtown workers. So if you are a downtown worker and you have had to report because you are an essential employee, there will be food trucks in Niagara Square for your lunchtime needs. I want to remind all city workers, essential and non-essential, that their pay will be direct deposited as it normally is or sent to you by mail. If you are working from home and you don't have direct deposit, please know that your checks have already been mailed. All renewals of licenses set to expire while City Hall is closed will automatically continue to be in effect so long as the applicant is in good standing until further notice. The city clerk's office will continue to be available for emergencies by appointment only, including for death certificates, marriage licenses, and birth certificates. The contact number is on the screen. The city clerk's office has continued to provide this service, and I want to thank the members of the City Council and Council President Darius Pridgeon for providing these services, some which are essential to the public. Licensed contractors can still submit applications to the Department of Permit and Inspection Services and make online payments through the city's website. We know some residents may have been laid off from their jobs as a result of the coronavirus situation or are currently out of work, but there is help available. The Buffalo Employment and Training Center is an excellent resource for those looking for employment or other forms of employment-related assistance. You can make an appointment to speak to an employment counselor by calling 856-JOBS. I'd now like to introduce Damone Smith, Executive Director of the Buffalo Employment and Training Center, who will explain what they are doing to help residents whose jobs have been impacted by this emergency. Damone?
Thank you, Mayor, for your leadership and guiding the city and the residents through this challenging time. At the Buffalo Employment Training Center, we are fully operational with at-home counselors who are able to counsel people who have lost their jobs, help with resumes, help with job referrals, help with anything related to employment and getting back to work through video conferencing and telephone conferencing. So anyone who has lost employment, please contact us at 856-JOBS, J-O-B-S, which is 5627. Again, that number is 856-5627. And by tomorrow, we will have a link on the city website where you can contact us by email, you can still contact us by email, but you can contact us by internet connection through the city's website. We also are looking for employers who are doing hiring. If you are looking for workers, please contact us at the same number, 856-JOBS, 5627, 856-5627. We have at-home counselors who are willing and waiting, as well as the center itself is now open to customers, but it is a call center and has turned itself into a call center to receive any phone calls for people looking for employment. And again, that number is 856-5627 or 856-JOBS.
I want to thank Damone Smith, the Executive Director of the Buffalo Employment and Training Center, for the work that he and his employees are doing both in the office and remotely to address the job concerns of residents in our community. Now, if residents are having a difficult time finding food or other basic necessities, there are dozens of food pantries that are willing to help. We have compiled a list which you can find on the city's website. Local colleges are also stepping up to help residents in need of childcare. Those college-operated daycare centers include Buffalo State Child Care Center, University at Buffalo Child Care Center, and the Erie Community College Child Care Centers at City, North, and South Campus. The BPO office and Kleinhans Music Hall are officially closed. Staff are answering phone calls and email remotely. Effective tomorrow, the Northland Workforce Training Center will be open Monday through Friday from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. and closed on weekends until further notice. Northland Restaurant Manna remains open and has a separate entrance for takeout. There has been a great deal of interest from local businesses in our on-street drive-through program. Over a dozen businesses at last count have contacted the parking department for guidance on establishing parking zones for pickups and deliveries. I want to introduce Parking Commissioner Kevin Helfer to talk more about this program. Commissioner?
Thank you, Mayor. Good afternoon, everyone. As the mayor said, this has generated interest since about noon today. We've had over a dozen restaurants have contacted our office. They're continuing to contact the office. Last time I looked was at 3 o'clock. We are having our supervisors go out and meet with the proprietors, the restaurateurs, identify exactly where they want the spaces, how many spaces that they need. So our curbside drive-through and pickup is going well. On average, most of the restaurants are requesting 2 or 3, but some of the larger ones have requested up to 5. We will continue to work together with them. We will continue to get more requests in, and we will continue to go out with our supervision and our staff and provide what is needed in terms of signage and working together. I think this will be very good for the restaurants, for the community, and for people who certainly would like to use that service. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Helfer. I also want to recognize one of our local restaurateurs, Fred Daniel, the owner of Freddie J's. About 4 days ago, I sent articles to a number of restaurateurs in the community showing them how restaurants across the country were ramping up their takeout and delivery businesses. Upon receiving that article, Fred Daniel rolled into action and really significantly ramped up his takeout and delivery business and has been reaching out to other restaurants across the city to do the same. And the programming that Fred Daniel of Freddie J's has put in place is also working very well. We need that kind of creativity in our community at this time. While park facilities remain closed across the city, parks remain available for passive use. And I really encourage everyone to get out and enjoy some fresh air and exercise while also observing health precautions and social distancing. This can be a very frustrating time for people, and we are still encouraging people using the guidance from health professionals to get out, get some fresh air, and to get exercise. Residents can use maps that Slow Roll Buffalo will provide to physically or virtually enjoy some of our parks and hopefully relieve some stress. Again, I want to thank Slow Roll Buffalo for their creativity and coming up with this exercise program for city residents at this difficult time. Completing the census is very important, and I'm going to continue to stress that every chance I get. Having an accurate count will help our city in the recovery phase of this emergency. I urge residents to complete their census forms so that we get our fair share of federal funding in Buffalo and Erie County. We now have nearly 10,500 people signed up for Buffalert. Get signed up to receive the latest information on emergencies, public service announcements, or events. Donations are still needed to address the shortage in our blood supply. If you are healthy, feeling well, and free of respiratory illness symptoms, I urge you to make an appointment with Connect Life. I put out the call for volunteers yesterday, and many of you have readily answered it. More than 150 people have signed up to volunteer, and I continue to ask residents who are not sick and have a vehicle to pitch in and help your neighbor. And while you are visiting our website, be sure to check out our frequently asked questions page about COVID-19. Residents can help us combat false information on social media by sharing this resource on their platforms. Check it out on the city's webpage. In closing, I know this is a difficult and trying situation. Our resolve is truly being tested not only as a city, but as a state, as a nation, and globally. But we are going to get through by working with one another and supporting one another. We are lucky that we come from such a tight-knit community in Buffalo and Western New York. It is why we are known around the globe as the city of good neighbors. Thank you, and I will open up to questions that the members of the media have at this time.
Mr. Mayor, you had mentioned that both Buffalo Fire Department and Buffalo Police Department are getting extra training. Is there really elaborate what's involved in that?
Yes, I'm going to ask Fire Commissioner Ronaldo to come to the microphone and just talk about some of the training that our fire and police personnel are receiving.
Good evening, everyone. The latest round of training we received was from our medical director, Dr. Bart. He did a orientation, a once-over-the-world orientation for a number of our members this past weekend. COVID-19 protocols and protective equipment, PPE, what to wear, how to respond, the number of people who respond to each call, and the number of calls that were taken away from us and given to our partners in AMR. And we've also videotaped that presentation, and we've sent it out to all of our members on a link to an email. So anyone who was not present at that orientation could receive the training as well.
Any further questions from the Fire Commission? Anyone have questions? Follow up with Kevin Helfer on the restaurant program. Anyone? Kevin?
Yes. Yes, we're working with the restaurateurs. As a matter of fact, I just got a text, probably somebody watching right now, and we're even giving them permission right now to go ahead and put cones out there, and then we'll come a little bit later and put the signs up for them. But yes, we're meeting with all the restaurateurs. Some might not have put the signs up because they might start tomorrow or what have you, but whoever wanted the signs up, they're up. Sure. Thank you.
It started a couple of days ago. People start calling as far as what to do when they get laid off. And so that's where we decided that we should switch around the way we do business to actually do call centers, and since to comply with the governor's request to have under 50% in the office, that at-home employees should have video conferencing ability as well as access to the case management systems and email, and have the ability to actual case manage over the phone and via teleconferencing via Zoom. And in Zoom, you can get off of your cell phone. And so if you got a cell phone, you can get on Zoom, so you won't necessarily have to have a computer. So we are prepared for whatever calls come in, and the remaining essential staff that we have in the center will be on answering the phones. And so we are ready to get everybody in, because what is happening now is we were at the start of the hiring season, and so when this passes, it'll still be hiring season. So we need to have everybody ready so that we can start to get the announcements out to the people who are ready to be employed. Also, we're talking to our partners to see if they have any online training programs. And so if people are at home, they can hop on to get a certificate on the online training program while they're here. And as well as we're answering questions that are, who's a displaced worker? Now, if you're a displaced worker, you are eligible for different benefits. And so we are in communication with the Department of Labor to find out exactly what that meaning is going to be. And if they are displaced, we can offer other benefits as well.
Another comprehensive update from the city of Buffalo today. And I want to, on the subject of hiring, that's one thing that I want to highlight for you, because it's one of the things that we have been being asked about the most. Here's a phone number to know whether you are looking for work or you may need workers. It's 856-JOBS. So it's 856-5627. And again, that's a number for people who may need work. And that's something we're hearing an awful lot of. But